Yeah, I worry about it because he hasn't been around, and I don't know. It's funny. I was ready to like go off on this whole rant about it, and then they had this setup tonight where it's okay. We got this match, and he will be back next week. And they had this match with Sami Zayn, and part of me was like, are they gonna do some kind of screwy finish and have Riddle get barred from SmackDown? I thought that would make
That
sense
wouldn't
to
have been the
do that.
worst. That wouldn't have been the worst thing that could happen to him either, because Reigns has to appear on Raw. So
Yeah, but he's been absent from both. Like I might as well just say it. Like the guy, I think he's been absent since May 20th or so, if I believe, something like that. It's been like a couple weeks. Like we had the little,
he hasn't shown up since Backlash, I don't think.
I feel like he made one like non-wrestling appearance. I thought he was on like the.
Oh, he helped the Usos.
That's right. That's right. The
win
tag
the
title
belt.
unification. So, but other than that, he's been gone and he hasn't even wrestled it, let alone live events. So his last live event I'm looking now was May 22nd. I think it was that Friday or so was the unification match. So I miss the guy. I hope he comes back, and I hope like they're actually going to deliver on this advertised main event. Because that'd be a pretty good one, Riddle versus Roman Reigns for next week. I think that'd be it'd be fresh, it'd be good. The new report notes that Reigns is not advertised for Money in the Bank. This is a match I think a lot of people were expecting to see at Money in the Bank, and they're going to do it on TV next week. Because reportedly, Reigns is no longer advertised for Money in the Bank. Partially, possibly due to the change in venue, and it's not as big of a show. Now.
That's so bad. Score one for the team, Roman. Like, just show up at the pay-per-view. That's not like a crazy ask.
I mean, I wonder how much this is on him. If he has a new deal and he has limited dates and they have to kind of pick and choose.
If you really, I've never been down with that, because like if you really care from either end, Roman could just show up and go, "Yeah, I'll work Money in the Bank. Pay me for Money in the Bank, and then we'll work it out." But also from the company standpoint, pay the guy because you need stars. So if you've got to pay him for 5 extra shows or whatever, just do it. It's, you're not making record profits or anything. Like, just.
No, I don't know. It's funny because like it's not to say that I didn't sign up for this, but like the guy won the 2 titles, reunified the titles of WrestleMania, and he hasn't been seen since. So like you put your 2 titles on one guy and he's not around, and that hurts the whole show. That drags everything down.
He beat Brock Lesnar and he got his schedule. So he didn't just take his title; he took his schedule.
And that's the thing. Like I'm as frustrated now as I was like back in 2019 when Brock was never around, and like you could just feel the general lack of depth and
it's the apathy towards everything. And I really think that if you were going to do this, you could have maybe not unified the belts. Maybe just keep everything separated. I know. I'm the guy who came on here every week and said, "Please God, unify the belts." But then they went and said, "Hey, not only are we going to unify the belts, we're also just going to take out Roman completely." Right. Like if I had known that was the plan, I would have said, "Don't unify the belts."
Right. And if that was the plan, I feel like, like obviously hindsight's 2020. I feel like they were any number of ways they could have done it better. Whatever that may have been. I would have rather they did the thing where they had someone else just take one of the titles off of Reigns anyway, because at least you still have one world title to do something with. Instead, we've had nothing. And now we have this with Riddle next week. I should say the match with Sami Zayn was very, very good. Riddle's great. Sami Zayn's great in the ring. Always very, very underrated. Big fan of what they did together. I thought it was a very good match. And Robert, you seem hopeful that Reigns will actually show up next week, so we can expect to have a pretty.
I'm not hopeful that. Like, I'd rather him show up at the pay-per-view. I don't care if SmackDown gets a title match. I'd rather it be at the pay-per-view. But I think WWE looks at SmackDown as better than a pay-per-view. So I think there's maybe a good chance he does show up.
I mean, the whole structure and format is pretty off now. We've talked about this before, but like nowadays it's more so about TV ratings, and they do the bigger matches for like the stadium shows. But again, the report being that Roman would not be at Money in the Bank, seemingly have decided to do that at SmackDown next week and hoping to, pop the number. Because then, ironically, the strategy has worked out because then more people might tune in next week because we haven't seen Reigns in several weeks. So in a very backwards way, kind of worked out in their favor. Not that SmackDown necessarily needs a ratings boost. The ratings have been fine, relatively.
I think all the ratings need a boost, just generally speaking. But I guess it's average for what they have been.
But at the end of the day, I definitely agree with Eddie here. Roman is the biggest draw at WWE. He has been missed, and the show does feel lesser without him. Both SmackDown and Hell in a Cell was a good show, but not having Roman on it, was a detriment in some ways. At least in general, it's not like that he had a storyline. He wasn't on it. He wasn't doing anything. So anytime you can get him back, for whatever it is, this one title match, whatever it might be, is beneficial. But there's just a lot of uncertainty now. They're doing this match with Riddle, more reports, and even on commentary, if they continue to say commentary, oh, we don't know if Randy Orton's ever going to wrestle again. And now there are reports that they don't even know what the plan of Randy Orton is at this point. That they might want to do with SummerSlam, but they don't know. Plans change as they always do. That'd be a great match.
That's such a cop out of I'm gonna cover my ass by saying plans change, because honestly, Randy's been saying I'm gonna wrestle until I die, practically. He just did a video a month ago, was it, saying, oh, Roman's gonna be off in Hollywood, I'll still be here. So he's not done. It's just, when do we want him to turn on Riddle now that we desperately need baby faces because Cody Rhodes is out for quote unquote 9 months? I think he does it in 3. I think quite frankly, I think Cody Rhodes is climbing the ladder and taking the briefcase down.
No. He said that on Raw.
I watched him wrestle with one arm, Colin.
But that's okay. Yes, he did. It was very concerning and very brave, but very concerning. And I don't know where his mind's at. I feel like he did that partially because he was advertised. People probably went to the show, at least to a degree, to see him, or something to that effect, or watch the show. Now, not having that kind of obligation, he is kind of in the driver's seat of when he can return. So I would imagine, or if I always say, if I were in his shoes, I would want to wait till I was absolutely 100% recovered and not rush back, because he's in a position where he could very well be the, if not face of WWE, a legit top guy for several years. So why jeopardize any of that by coming back before he's ready? So that would be, I think 9 months is aggressive. I think they did that just to kind of.
I think they did 9 months. Okay, being honest, I think they did 9 months so he could do it in 6.
Yeah,
and be at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
I think right now, the way I see it, honestly, I still think just because the words came out of his mouth that it's possible he shows up just to climb a ladder. But I think Rollins wins the briefcase. Rollins wins the belt. Cody beats Rollins.
Yeah, I think that's a money story. And I think John and I were talking about it on the Raw show, but that'd be their 4th match, but there would be a pretty healthy layoff from match 3 to match 4 in that case.
Yeah, it's like when Edge and Randy had 2 matches together, and then they had a match a year later. It still works.
They've still that feud. They're still they're still great in the ring together, so that works out. So, but yeah, the Riddle's being in the spot, kind of does reflect a somewhat lack of baby faces. Roman's absence lately has been kind of exemplified by this injury to Cody, and we can hope that Reigns will be around maybe a little more, at least for the summer, maybe more than they were originally planning. I don't know. I hope so, because otherwise they're in a little bit of trouble just in general in terms of star power here. But speaking of star power, we had a pretty fun opening match, a Money in the Bank qualifying match between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. 2 guys always very good together. We've seen this match a lot. It's always very, very good. And we did not get a winner. We did not get a winner, and we did not get a resolution on this show. I read up the article for this match. I was like, it ends in a double DQ. I'm like, all right, just gonna update it.
Do you know what that means?
Both guys qualified, or
both guys are going in, and they're just like, we got no one, so we're gonna drag it out, because automatically saying Sheamus and Drew are in your Money in the Bank makes it a prestigious match, because Sheamus is like a 5-time world champion and Drew has won it twice.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good match. Not a big fan of the ending.
They never have a bad match. They'll never get the credit for it, but they're about as solid as like a, Edge John Cena, where, okay, just put him out there, let him fight, and they'll have a good match.
Yeah. And so you know that's what you're gonna get. Never disappoints.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question for you. What is a last laugh match?
I don't know, and neither do the commentators, because they announced a last laugh match next week. Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss running it back, hopefully for the last time. But when they announced the match late in the show, I think Pat McAfee literally said, like, "What is that? I don't know." Nobody's
I'm trying to
know
think
what
of
it
like
is.
a cross between an I Quit and a Last Man Standing, where like you have to beat the laughter out of your opponent, and once he can no longer respond by means of laughter, you then have the last laugh. But that's such a how do you explain that?
Honestly, I'm thinking it was just a name, and it'll be like a Street Fighter
I think it's at least the
something.
Last Man Standing.
Yeah, that would make sense. Because they do street fights all the time. At least, yeah, last night's thing will be pretty good. Do you think Madcap wins that as well? Because
Oh yeah, I think he's going to Money in the Bank. I think he's not like my pick, but he's a solid dark horse for Money in the Bank.
I can see that. I'm surprised they're already running this back. Like I thought they were kind of writing off Corbin with an injury and they would kind of do something else, but they're running this back. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully this will be the end of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping it'd be fun if it was something different. We haven't seen like a real fun match since like the Symphony of Destruction kind of stuff. So I'm always open for, something a little fresh, but the bar is pretty low. So it might just be a pretty standard kind of thing. But I know we're going to get that next week. Something we saw this week was the return of Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans back in the ring for the first time since February 2021. She's been
finally. She was here.
She was.
She's had a traumatic backstory. She switched brands and it's caused me trauma. Okay? And now she's back on one show on SmackDown, and I think she's winning Money in the Bank.
Really?
Honest to God, it's 4th of July weekend. I think we need red, white, and blue fireworks going off for Lacey Evans. If not her, I think it's Bliss. But Bliss hasn't even qualified yet.
Okay. No, you say that, and I could very easily see them doing that for that very reason for Lacey Evans. They've clearly invested a lot in this comeback story, the vignettes, the promos, and then she was going to go to Raw, and she was going to be on SmackDown. They've waffled on that a little bit. Now she's back on SmackDown. She beat Xia Li tonight. Pretty short match, but that woman's right from Lacey Evans was like that was pretty cool. I don't remember liking the move that much when she was doing it back like when she in her first run, but like this was like it reminded me of like Bad News Barrett's elbow back in the day, but it was a punch. Like it was just so like quick fire, like it looked pretty cool.
I remember when she was in NXT, I really, really wanted her against Bianca, where Bianca would stop the woman's right with her braid. I just think like that would be such a great visual.
I like that. That's cool. So maybe we'll get to see that happen. If she wins Money in the Bank and she may decide to cash in on Bianca Belair, that very well could become a reality. But she was before the match here had a promo. Pretty much what she's been saying. She's going to wake up, go to work, and win. Essentially, same kind of stuff. Talking about her same slogan about how nobody in the locker rooms. She's not better than anybody in the locker room, but they're not better than her. So I don't know. This was not a great chance to really see like how much she's changed since we last saw her. This was a pretty short match, so maybe we'll see, a little longer match in the weeks ahead here, or maybe
we won't.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't think we.
Yeah, I could hope, right? But we can. Hopefully,
this
right?
is like okay. So Lacey Evans qualifies. We gotta have 8 women. For the life of me, Colin, I can't think of 8 women because, like I said, Evans, Bliss, Morgan, right?
Yep.
Maybe Dewdrop. Maybe Nikki.
Becky?
Like
I could throw Becky in there.
Becky and Asuka.
Yeah.
But Becky and Asuka can take care of a little bit of the load, and then maybe like a Shotzi, and then I think we're you know what? Shotzi and Baszler, and I think like that's about all you've got.
Pretty much.
Literally, unless you want to be like, hey Dana,
she just been
come
Becky.
in another Money in the Bank.
Yeah. I mean, again, depth is a serious problem these days, especially with the Sasha Banks Naomi thing ongoing. And I think Money in the Bank is one of those matches that definitely reflects that. Money in the Bank and the Royal Rumble. It's like if you don't have enough depth, it really shows in a multi-person match like that. And especially in this one, where it's like, you need kind of 7 or 8 people to kind of carry that match for the duration. Like it shows a little more. So the what you just said, like those picks sound pretty realistic in the sense they don't have many alternatives otherwise. Like you mentioned Dave Brooke at the end there, maybe Tamina, maybe a Shayna Baszler.
That's insane to me because when they first did a women's Money in the Bank, it was a SmackDown exclusive match, and they had women in spades. That was only 5 years ago. I really feel a strong aggression in the women's movement, and it sucks to see.
I mean, you've been saying that for a while, and I didn't want to believe you at first, but
I just see it every week. It's getting worse.
No, but let's say like I didn't want to admit it at first, but like it's there.
It's like Cody's arm there. It's like it's a little bruised, and now it's just the whole arm is purple.
Right. Hopefully the bruising goes down. We get progress back to where we were, or at least take steps back in the right direction or towards the right direction, whichever. But not at this juncture, at least, not all that hopeful about the lineup, I should say, for the Money in the Bank match here on the women's side of things. Presumably, Drew and Sheamus both qualified. Hopefully, we're going to have a couple qualifying matches next week as well on both shows. Raw did not have any qualifying matches this past week, so can wait and see what happens there. But one big takeaway from tonight's show, Robert, we got a new Intercontinental Champion, and his name is Gunther. Gunther, whatever you want to say.
Gunther. Listen, I think credit to this man, right? Because we've seen a lot of NXT call-ups fizzle out and be horrible. And Gunther is like the first one since I don't even really want to try to give a name because I can't think of anyone that's been as closely presented to his NXT presentation, despite the name change from Walter. He's dominating, and he made Ricochet sad, and
very sad.
I think Gunther as IC champion is something I can really, really get behind, and I'm gonna go all the way here, and I'll book WrestleMania right now. I think it's Gunther McIntyre
for
the
what title?
For the Intercontinental title.
You think he's gonna keep it till then?
I think he should. Why not?
Yeah.
Who else do you got? I think Gunther McIntyre would be a hell of a match for the Intercontinental title. And I think it's a really cool story. And I hope that Gunther racks up some pay-per-view wins because we're still on a drought here, Colin.
It's crazy.
Because the last man to win the Intercontinental Championship on a pay-per-view event is currently an NXT superstar.
Apollo Crews back at WrestleMania 37, 2021. And that was over a year ago now. So not a great look. And every time there's a new champion, we say like, oh, I hope this will be good for the title, that it'll be featured more, that'll be on more pay-per-views or whatever. With Gunther, maybe I'm naive. I'm hopeful. It's pretty clear they're pretty high on him. They've been booking him well. Even if it's just like to give him a couple dominant wins on pay-per-view here and there. I would expect he'll if assuming he has a title, then he'll be a Clash at the Castle. Like how could he not?
But you know what? I would really be like, can we get Dragunov? Can we just like run it back? And matter of fact, don't even run it back. Just get him on the main roster now and run Gunther and Dragunov for the IC belt.
That'd be cool. I'm hoping to see like some of the NXT UK guys. Like I feel like they should be on that show. Like it's literally in their neck of the woods, and it's a good chance to, even if it's not a whole lot of them, someone like Dragunov or maybe people that have been on NXT before, just a little, if you already established some familiarity, like that'd be great. Like I want to see that. I'm hoping Gunther has a good run. When we watch a lot of wrestling, like it takes a lot for me to viscerally react to something, but some of like the chops Gunther was throwing, he like turned Ricochet inside out with a clothesline. Gunther's awesome, and Ricochet was making him look like $1 million bucks here. So shout out
perfect
to both
opponent
guys.
for him because he can he can turn himself inside out off of anything. So any chop is going to feel like, epic.
Yeah.
And it's no pun intended. The sound is going to ricochet off everything in the arena, and it's great. And I feel bad for Ricochet, right? Because what is his IC title run? He fought Los Lotharios on WrestleMania SmackDown. But, at the end of the day, he got his belt and he got to pass it to Gunther, who could be, by proxy of like no competition, one of the better Intercontinental champions of the modern era.
Yeah. Because I would hope that whoever does beat him, maybe to a lesser degree than like a Roman Reigns, but whoever beats him should kind of, it should be a big deal because, he's this powerhouse and it should, be a big like upset moment, or if not upset, it should be built up like that. And that was because that's what they did down in NXT UK. So I'd hope to see that. And right now on the main roster, I don't see a whole lot of guys other than you mentioned Drew McIntyre a minute ago. Like that would make a lot of sense to kind of draw it out like that.
Honestly, turn Sheamus, turn Butch,
yeah.
turn Pete Dunne and Walter had quite the banger 3 years ago in Brooklyn. Like I'd run that back.
I would love to see that. I would love to see Butch not be Scrappy Doo anymore and instead go back to being cool bruiserweight Pete Dunne. That's I look forward to that hopefully being a thing someday. But we can also look forward to seeing the Viking Raiders, Robert, because they're coming soon to SmackDown.
I don't like that. That's so silly. They're already on your roster. Come on.
Yep.
Come on. What are you doing? Viking Raiders are on your roster.
That's a head scratcher. They were on the roster. They're featured. I think they faced. Did they face? I think
they faced the Usos at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and they they're feuding
for
like a couple weeks.
They were supposed to.
Right.
And then one of them got jumped or something. But like,
and they drew it out for weeks, and then they lost, as they always do. So I get my twofold reaction. It's like very odd to have the coming soon thing when they're already on the roster. Yes, they went down to NXT for a little bit. You didn't get an AJ Styles coming soon to Raw after he went to NXT for like 2 weeks because he was still appearing on both. And then the Viking Raiders go down to NXT. It's like suddenly they're coming back to SmackDown. No, they're already there. They're already drafted there.
I wonder if they'll have new names.
Oh, I hope not.
It'll be Olaf and Olaf. They're just the Viking Raiders have the same name.
And the second part of the reaction was like it's time for like the biannual, like let's pretend we actually like the Viking Raiders and build them up for a bit just so they can lose a tag title shot because they don't have any other teams. Because they've already faced the Usos a couple months ago, like we said a minute ago, and they don't have a whole lot of other teams, so they kind of got to just circle back, and it's going to be a good match, but no reason to think that we saw this back in February. No reason to think the Viking Raiders are actually going to beat them. So just round and round we go, Robert. Round and round we go. Yeah. But I mean, those guys are great. I'm a big fan of them. Anytime we saw them against the Creed brothers in NXT, very impressed by that. I always like it and see them in the ring. But was a big fan of them in the original NXT run. Big fan of them on the Raw run back in the day, and they've been pretty badly misused since then. But someone who's not getting badly misused, but not exactly enjoying either way is Ronda Rousey, the reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Came out tonight for a promo. Not exactly her strong suit. Got a promo about how she'll be facing Natalya for the title, defending the title against Natalya at Money in the Bank. Shotzi interrupts. Shotzi finally wanting to step up and get a title shot here. She's been in the mix a little bit in the past couple weeks, getting locked in the locker room, locking others in the locker room. And she confronts Ronda Rousey and she said, "Oh, I have a killer instinct, unlike for Colin Rodriguez or whatever." And this Ronda Rousey said, "You want a title, Shotzi? It's Onzi or something like that." It was like the most cringeworthy thing I've heard.
You want a title, Shotzi?
You're on Z or something.
Something, yeah.
You're on skis. You're on skis.
You're on ski. Okay.
Oh my gosh! Like what is this?
Title
shit?
Shotzi is fantastic. All right.
The fact that it's both. Okay. The fact
but following that up with you're on ski.
Ugh.
Okay.
I audibly groaned, Pepper. I'm like, this is not good. Like, it's fine, perfectly fine match. Shotzi's great, criminally underutilized, just like Xia Li and the others. They have more depth than they realize. They just don't utilize it. So you get a match like this. Ronda beats Shotzi in this case. And yeah, she gets to be in there with the women's champion, but she loses. And then not all that optimistic that she's going to be featured successfully going forward. It's another loss for her. But that promo was such a bad taste in my mouth. And then Natalya attacked her after the match, so we'll get that at Money in the Bank.
She got a serious injury, according to Caleb Braxton, but whatever.
Are we gonna get? This is like the same thing they did at Elimination Chamber with like the Charlotte feud, where like they like well not there they like tied one arm behind your back, but then they did like the leg angle where like she hurt her leg. It's like, man, it's dark days on SmackDown, Robert. Okay, we don't have Roman Reigns. The main story at this point really is Ronda Rousey when Roman's not around. Like you've got the Riddle feud kind of going on.
Charlotte needs to hurry back because we need stars,
big time. Again, even putting aside the Sasha Banks Naomi thing, like severe lack of just.
They need to hurry back too. We need stars.
Man, we have the quote unquote serious injury. Robert, like that was it. Like
we had. Yeah, I mean, Riddle. We covered Riddle.
We covered that, yeah.
Yeah, so that was basically it. I like Sami Zayn being the rat fink of the bloodline. Who's so I'm one of them, even though it's like, no, you're not. He's one of my favorite characters, and he turns everything into gold. But that was it, Colin. Very bland, yet eventful episode of SmackDown.
That was a weird thing. Like things happened,
I like Gunther.
Gunther's great.
Actually, one thing I want to get into even though we don't do the Raw show. Since we're done with SmackDown, I gotta just run this by you. So if you're in a group,
right,
and said group wins their match, do you then betray the leader of said group for the guy that leader beat to secure the victory? I don't understand the Judgment Day turn. I don't think I ever will.
No. That was admittedly a good swerve because I never saw it coming.
Yeah,
I never saw
it. Just because you didn't see it coming doesn't make it good.
It was unpredicted, which is good because half the time they do stuff that's like you could see it coming a mile away. This was good in the sense of nobody could see it coming, but nobody saw it coming because it doesn't make any sense. Like again, even if you had like 1 week of to draw it out a little bit, whether it was some foreshadowing, something, or even have that
no dissension, no anything, no like, hey, like all right, we lost to Finn Balor, but I'm gonna turn a loss into a win by getting Finn Balor, and then they say, no, actually, you're a loser, you're gone.
Edge got the win. Edge pinned Balor in that match. Doesn't make any freaking sense.
You're an old man. We don't need you control. Okay, whatever.
Balor's like almost 40. Doesn't make any sense.
I know they're not far off in age. I know.
Like, come on. I mean, like, I don't know. I think part of it may be the Cody Rhodes injury. There were reports that there may have been a difference in opinion about the direction for the group. That that's where they wanted it to go, and Edge was not exactly on board with that, perhaps. But I do think the Cody thing was part of this. In that case, like, then that's not great because they did this injury angle, and supposedly Edge will be out for a couple weeks. So then you're like further sapping the roster of star power.
I think Edge just cost someone a briefcase, and then he fights Balor at. Because remember, you don't have 8 weeks until SummerSlam. You have like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're building towards.
I love like when people do interfere in Money in the Bank matches. Like I'll always remember like Matt Hardy interfering at WrestleMania 24. He attacked MVP. And it's like it was popped me when I was a kid. And like it's cool stuff like that. It's a cool like it's inherently a match where like things can kind of happen like that, and it's a good way to kind of have something else go on, something else develop in the winner. So I'd like to see that. Edge and Balor at SummerSlam. That'd be awesome. Like that'd be really, really cool. That's a match we have not seen before at all. So as singles, I mean. So that would be very, very cool to see. But yeah, I was just very, very perplexed.
Yeah, and I know again that's not SmackDown. Sorry for any purists out there listening. I had to get that off my chest on every possible medium because it's just such a silly choice. Like from a logical perspective, you're siding with a loser. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm glad for Finn Balor because I think he's yet another case of someone that's been misutilized badly on the main roster, especially. So I think this could be good for him. I'm a little worried about the report that they might be going in a supernatural direction because that was kind of the worst part of the Judgment Day previously when they went like with the flashing lights and this other. I like when the lights went out and then Priest was gone. Not really here for that. Like when it's done in a pretty hokey way, like it comes off pretty lackluster. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. I think it could be good. I think Edge was the best part of that group because like he legitimized them. Not to say that Balor isn't legitimate, and not to say that already aren't, but like Edge is a Hall of Famer. Like you inherently take away
Edge
from the
legitimate. The whole story is Edge takes them under his wing, literally in front of the camera and behind the scenes. They get to learn from working with him. They can still learn by working opposite him, but it's not the same.
No. So there's that. Cody Rhodes' injury is a bummer. That's just like you could pretty clearly tell they're going a certain way, whatever it may have been. And now, he's not going to be out for 9 months, but like that probably changed a bunch of things around for the next couple months. But John Cena is coming back, Robert. Okay,
yeah,
like there's hope on the horizon. John Cena's coming back. We had this dope commercial tonight where remember the name playing for John Cena. I popped for that. I was like, well, that's freaking cool.
That's really cool. John, I want John back for 6 months. I want like a full John run. I miss him. Selfishly, another reason I hate the Judgment Day split. I was hoping we could finagle this into Edge and John Cena wrestling for the sake of wrestling.
Yeah.
And we're not getting that. John Cena is gonna probably work Theory. Some people feel a certain way about that. I'm just happy John Cena is on my television screen.
Yes.
And we'll worry about everything else later.
Yes. I mean, if you haven't seen it already, they showed it on SmackDown tonight. John Cena, real life superhero, met this person, this refugee in Ukraine. They fled from Ukraine. They flew out to see them. And I think they had, I believe it was Down syndrome or something.
Down syndrome, I believe, yeah.
The name was Misha. It was like such an amazing story.
John,
like, my gosh, this man is amazing.
And it's not like John is infallible, but you can tell he genuinely tries to be a better person every day. And hats off to John. Not going to take mine off, but figuratively, hats off to John.
He is great. He is missed. I'm very much looking forward to him coming back, whatever it might be. If it's Theory, which seems very likely. I mean, we were talking about it last year. Cena was on SmackDown most of the time last year when he came back. Like that was great. I loved having him back on TV for just a couple months. It's fun, it's nostalgic, and like there's nothing like John. Like he's one of a kind. So
I'm hopeful that John's not going to be wearing green.
Why?
Yeah, because he got stuck with green somehow, and I just feel like that's not my favorite. I like the John with the Money in the Bank 2011 John with the red. And
yeah.
I'm hoping John's got some new gear.
I'm sure he will. They got to pump out the merch. They got to
And maybe this will finally be the John Cena shirt that I buy, Colin. I've never had a single one of his shirts. So
I had a bunch when I was a kid, man. Yeah.
Who knows?
If they release a good one, I might have to drop a dime or two to pick that up because I mean, big fan of John Cena. Glad he's coming back. Admittedly, I tried to temper my own expectations. I was like, oh, he's just gonna come back for this the anniversary. Then I was like, wait, no, like this might very well be something here.
He's got to be leading to something.
You would think so. You would hope so. But because they need him. With that said, dark days on SmackDown, Robert. No Roman Reigns. Gunther's great, as we said. Like there were some bright spots, but this is one of those shows tonight where it's like, oof.
Yeah. I mean, out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 6.5.
I would agree. I don't want to penalize it too much. Good main event. Gunther winning was good. Dream of Sandwich was good, but the ending wasn't great. But a lot of other nothingness. Just like,
utter nothingness.
But we do our best to weather the storm, keep going on. We can hope that injuries will heal and people will come back. Roman Reigns supposedly coming back next week. We can at least look forward to that. Temporary Band-Aid, I guess. He'll probably just go away for a couple another weeks after that. Onwards we go. That's just the way it goes here. That said, we do this show on Fridays. You and I, Robert, talk about SmackDown, schedule permitting. John and I talk about Raw on Monday with the Raw post show. We also do the NXT post show on Tuesdays. Two Diamond Dudes, the Rampage, Marcus and Dominic cover all things AEW. We've got a great stream of interviews counting you guys. We did a bunch of NWA ones this week ahead of NWA Always Ready tomorrow, June 11th. That's in Knoxville. Very, very exciting show there. I interviewed Joe Galley, kind of the voice of the NWA, the broadcaster. He did a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well. I also interviewed Camille, the reigning NWA Women's World Champion, who's been the champion for over a year now. It's very, very cool. Bill Pritchard's interviewed Taya Valkyrie, Kylan King, more than I can remember the name. A bunch of other stuff in the archives as well. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe. We do appreciate it. Robert, you're very busy in doing a bunch of stuff in the media game. You want to
I really am. Just follow me everywhere at DeFelice. I recently hit Twitch affiliate. If you stop by a Twitch stream, please, I appreciate all the support. And check out Fightful.com, Fightful Select. I believe it was Sean that broke the news that Gunther is impressing the higher ups. We have a weekly SmackDown and Raw plans right before the shows go on the air. So check out Fightful and Fightful Select. And just thank you guys for all the support.
Indeed. We really do appreciate it. It helps us keep on keeping on here, whether it's this show, whether it's you checking out all of our stuff that we write up. We try our best to keep you guys both informed and entertained in a variety of ways. We do appreciate the support on all fronts. It means a lot to us. The world outside is a very scary place, Robert, but we try to escape all that. We come here and enjoy the wild, wonderful world of wrestling. I always just gave it away, but Robert, you're wrestling. We do one thing. Well, all it is. Can you tell me what that is?
Enjoy wrestling, everyone.
Indeed. Thanks for listening.